Can you believe it? The most luxurious symbol on the planet, the 7-star Burj Al Arab Hotel, has just officially put up a "No Guests Allowed" sign, not to upgrade its luxury, but to hide a stark truth. Room occupancy has plummeted to 0% after the intense UAV assaults in 2026. In just a few weeks, billions in market capitalization evaporated, and the real estate index plunged dramatically. The super project of the world's tallest tower, Dubai Creek Tower, was indefinitely shelved, leaving only its bare foundations in the desert. The promised land fever has cooled into a financial graveyard. The billion-dollar resorts that once served as havens for the ultra-rich are no longer the future of humanity. They have become one of the most expensive lessons in history. Today, let us uncover the bitter truth behind the abandoned mega-construction sites, the ghostly golden resorts, and the frantic flight of international capital. Many people think Dubai will become a ghost city in 2026 entirely because of the rockets. That is a mistake. The war is only the spark that landed on a fuel depot already overloaded with internal risks. Dubai's prosperity was already weakening long before the first bomb exploded. Looking at the real estate market during 2024 and 2025, developers flooded the market with more than 150,000 off-plan apartments, creating the illusion of endless demand from wealthy buyers. Then came 2026, with a record delivery of tens of thousands of housing units. The result was an overwhelming oversupply in areas like JVC, Aryan, and Dubai South. Infrastructure struggled to keep pace with population growth, while investors watched their profit margins shrink. The so-called tax-free paradise also began to lose its appeal as new financial regulations, reporting systems, and stricter verification requirements reduced financial secrecy and speculative investment. There is an ironclad rule in financial history: no financial paradise can survive forever if it sits directly on a geopolitical powder keg. According to the narrative, on February 28, 2026, a large-scale military campaign involving the United States and Israel against Iran dramatically increased tensions across the Middle East. 1 month later, the Strait of Hormuz was reportedly blockaded, placing enormous pressure on the Gulf region. Because of Dubai's strategic position and its close ties with Western allies, it suddenly found itself exposed to the growing regional conflict. The consequences were immediate. Airspace disruptions, security concerns, and military activity shattered the long-standing image of Dubai as a completely safe investment destination. Financial markets reacted instantly. Billions of dollars in market value disappeared within weeks, while the real estate sector experienced one of its sharpest declines in years. International airlines began suspending flights, reducing tourism and business travel almost overnight. Shipping traffic through the Strait of Hormuz slowed dramatically, causing transportation costs and insurance premiums to surge. As logistics became more expensive, imported goods became increasingly difficult to secure. Food supplies, construction materials, and commercial products all faced delays and rising costs. For investors, confidence was fading. A city once promoted as one of the world's safest financial hubs suddenly appeared vulnerable to risks that many had never seriously considered. The question was no longer whether Dubai could continue expanding, but whether it could preserve the reputation that had taken decades to build. Look at this stark reality. When fear takes over the market, investors stop making progress payments almost immediately. The flow of cash dries up, liquidity disappears, and the real estate sector begins to freeze. Without new capital entering the market, massive construction projects are left unfinished, turning into concrete skeletons in the middle of the desert. Within the first few months of 2026, international interest in Dubai's property market reportedly fell sharply. Buyers who had once rushed to purchase off-plan apartments suddenly disappeared, leaving developers struggling to finance ongoing projects. One of the biggest examples is Dubai Creek Tower. Once promoted as the future tallest tower in the world, the project was redesigned in an attempt to revive investor confidence. However, growing uncertainty and rising geopolitical risks forced construction plans to slow dramatically. International contractors became increasingly reluctant to participate. Insurance companies raised costs or refused to provide war risk coverage for workers and specialized equipment. Supply chains were disrupted, making it difficult to import the steel, machinery, and custom materials required for mega projects. What was supposed to become a city of the future gradually transformed into an unfinished construction site. The same uncertainty spread to other landmark developments. Investors delayed payments, developers reduced activity, and thousands of workers were left waiting as projects stalled indefinitely. Buildings that had once symbolized unlimited ambition now stood as reminders of how quickly confidence can disappear when financial optimism collides with geopolitical uncertainty. The dream of endless growth was replaced by abandoned foundations, silent construction sites, and billion-dollar investments left waiting for a future that seemed increasingly uncertain. The luxury tourism industry, one of Dubai's greatest symbols of success, suddenly found itself facing its biggest challenge. As uncertainty spread across the region, the flow of wealthy international visitors slowed dramatically. Hotels that had once enjoyed near-full occupancy were now struggling to fill their rooms. To reduce operating costs, several luxury resorts reportedly shut down entire floors, limited services, and reduced staffing. Grand lobbies that had once welcomed celebrities, royalty, and business elites became unusually quiet. Luxury yacht marinas that were once packed with multi-million-dollar vessels also began to empty as many owners moved their assets to locations they considered safer. The pressure forced premium hotels to slash room rates. Resorts that once charged thousands of dollars per night introduced heavy discounts in an attempt to attract visitors. Some hotels even offered complimentary packages and special promotions just to maintain occupancy. While these discounts helped generate short-term bookings, they also weakened the exclusive image that Dubai's luxury hospitality industry had spent decades building. As international tourism declined, thousands of employees working in hotels, restaurants, retail stores, and tourism services faced reduced working hours, unpaid leave, or job losses. The situation reached its symbolic peak when one of Dubai's most famous landmarks, the Burj Al Arab, announced a long-term closure for renovation. Officially, the closure was presented as part of a major modernization project designed to refresh the hotel's appearance after years of operation. However, critics argued that the announcement reflected much deeper economic challenges. With international luxury travel declining sharply and operating costs remaining extremely high, maintaining normal operations had become increasingly difficult. Whether viewed as a renovation or a strategic business decision, the closure marked a powerful symbol of how quickly even the world's most recognizable luxury brands can be affected when confidence disappears. For many observers, it represented more than the temporary closure of a hotel. It symbolized the uncertainty surrounding an economy built heavily on tourism, real estate, and investor confidence. As confidence continued to collapse, the movement of international capital changed almost overnight. Money that had once poured into Dubai's luxury real estate and financial markets began searching for safer destinations. Wealthy investors started selling high-end properties, reducing their exposure to uncertainty, and moving their assets elsewhere. Neighboring countries, along with emerging investment hubs in Asia, became increasingly attractive alternatives. Investors who had once viewed Dubai as the ultimate safe haven were now prioritizing stability over luxury. Business confidence also weakened. New company registrations reportedly declined, while several multinational firms reviewed their regional operations and prepared contingency plans in case conditions deteriorated further. The effects were visible across the city. Luxury neighborhoods that had once symbolized prosperity became noticeably quieter. Expensive villas remained on the market for longer periods, and demand for premium real estate continued to soften. Beyond the financial impact, ordinary residents also began feeling the pressure. Retail businesses experienced slower sales, restaurants welcomed fewer customers, and service industries struggled to maintain previous levels of activity. For expatriates and foreign professionals, uncertainty created difficult decisions. Many families postponed major investments, while others chose to relocate until conditions became more stable. This period highlighted an important reality about global capital. It rarely remains loyal to one location. Investment flows toward opportunity during times of optimism but can leave just as quickly when confidence disappears. The rapid shift in investor sentiment demonstrated how closely Dubai's economy depended on international confidence. Once that confidence weakened, the effects spread across real estate, tourism, finance, and nearly every major sector of the economy. The city's greatest challenge was no longer attracting new investment. It had become restoring trust in a future that suddenly appeared far less certain than before. Behind the headlines, the financial losses, and the unfinished skyscrapers lies an even greater human story. When economies slow down, the people who suffer the most are rarely the wealthy investors. They are the ordinary workers whose lives depend on steady employment and regular income. Millions of migrant workers form the backbone of Dubai's construction, hospitality, transportation, and service industries. As projects slowed and businesses reduced operations, many of these workers faced layoffs, delayed wages, or uncertain futures. Construction sites that once operated around the clock became quiet. Hotels reduced staff, restaurants cut operating hours, and many small businesses struggled to survive in the changing economic environment. For countless families, financial pressure grew rapidly. Rising living costs, reduced income, and uncertainty about future employment created challenges that extended far beyond the business world. The contrast became impossible to ignore. While major investors had the financial resources to relocate their money and move elsewhere, many workers had no such option. They remained behind, hoping that conditions would improve and opportunities would return. This situation serves as a reminder that every economic crisis affects people differently. Financial statistics may measure billions of dollars in losses, but behind every number are individuals trying to support their families and build a better future. Whether Dubai ultimately recovers or faces a longer period of adjustment will depend on many economic, political, and global factors. History has shown that great cities often overcome difficult moments, but recovery requires resilience, confidence, and time. The larger lesson extends far beyond Dubai itself. Economies built on rapid growth, global investment, and international confidence can achieve extraordinary success, but they can also become vulnerable when external pressures suddenly change. In the end, prosperity is strongest when it is supported by sustainable development, economic diversification, and long-term stability rather than short-term optimism alone. Thank you for watching. If you found this analysis interesting, don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more in-depth reports on global economics, geopolitics, and major world developments.